Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV
I'll follow
33.
your lead.
We won't have a problem. Welcome back. This is TV 33, WHPR. My name is Barry Ross, and I'm privileged to have a show on this station. I want to thank R.J. Watkins and our engineer Hodo that makes the station run, Henry Tyler, and everyone else that's involved, even little R.J. We have with us now Mr. Roy McAllister. Roy, thank you for coming.
Barry, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it so much. Want to give honor to God who's having my life for allowing me to be here. Thank you.
I have to say that every time I'm with you, I always feel that I'm underdressed. This is one of the sharpest. I met Roy really at Sermon's Close, and he's been a faithful customer there. You know, it's been sold.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found that out.
Yeah, my brother just sold the building,
Wow.
so
It was what, 90-some years?
96 years.
96 years,
Mhm.
right. Wow.
You're running for city council.
Yes, sir.
And excuse my ignorance, but I know you've been in government for a long, long time, but could we just give everybody an idea of your background? You were with the federal government, correct?
Well, I started off with, I was on the Detroit Police Department, and I ran homicide section.
How many years?
Let's see, about 12 years. And then I left, and I also was retired from Detroit, United States Army, and I was a CW4, which is equivalent to a lieutenant colonel. Spent 3 years in Iraq, and I ran the northern province of Iraq. I was a regional commander up there with a $200 billion budget. When I came back after retiring from both, I taught at ITT Tech and University of Phoenix, and then I landed with Federal Defender's Office.
It appears to me you're relatively overqualified to be, now you had this entire background before you went into the police department?
No, this is part of 5.5 years. I was laid off for 5 years, so it's 5.5 years of active duty and 18 reserve.
And okay, but then when did you go to the service? At what point?
When I was laid off from the police department.
My God, and you were head of homicide?
Yeah, ran homicide.
Oh my God! And what I just got to ask you, I don't want to digress much from this, but our present situation with the murder rate in the city of Detroit, and I just want to say one more thing. I work with Crime Stoppers.
Yes.
I generally have a family every other week or two, and my first question that I ask is, what's the relationship like between you and the investigating homicide detective? And they said, what relationship? They generally don't have much communication after the initial murder because they're so overwhelmed for various reasons in the police department, and nothing against the police, but the budget cuts, the right to work,
Right.
all these issues, burnout, you name it. We are now on our sixth chief of police, or fifth?
15 since this mayor.
Fifth from Cincinnati or Ohio.
Well, yes, Chief James Craig, who's coming in now.
Okay, and I don't know if they had a homicide, and I've had him on my show. It really, his hands are tied. His budget is weak.
Yes.
His manpower is thin. But I'm sure that when you were head of homicide in what years?
I was head of homicide from 2005 to 2006, but I was there from 1996. So, but one of the things I want to say is, Barry, is that when we had homicide, we had groups for grieving families that we would come in and we would allow them to talk and express, and we would have annual meetings with families because families need closure, and then not all cases are closed.
Sure.
But they need someone that they need to talk to and grieve with, and we also had that. A lot of the problems with the Detroit Police Department is the consent decree. The Department of Justice is in here. I mean, we have to be accountable to our citizens. That's definite. But when it comes down to the point where you stop policing from policing, and you tie the hands of your men and women in blue, then it's a disservice to the citizens of Detroit, and that's why we're at the level of
I don't
crime
want
where
to.
we
I
are.
don't want to waste. Not to say it's a lot of waste time because we want to talk about you running for office.
Yes,
But
sir.
even before the consent agreement, we were having problems.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And the response to calls, I hear that over 50% of a lot of the calls they get are false alarms. I mean, there's a lot of issues. I don't, and I could go on and on and on because it's very dear to me. I go on the streets for families that had murders,
Yes.
and I've often wondered. I've talked to Crime Stoppers. Why can't we get these families to meet in the churches for support groups? I know there's nothing that works better than somebody else that's going through the same thing that you are.
Exactly.
Listen, I gone to AA meetings. No, and if you had, God forbid, someone had cancer, only another person would know what it's like to go
Cancer
through
survivor.
chemo
Yes, sir.
and going through what you're going
sir.
through.
That
They
is true.
only feel you.
Yes,
it's
sir.
just like children relate better sometimes to children in schools and what have you. But and I don't want to beat this down, but let's talk about so now your background in government after Iraq. You fell where? You came back home.
Came back home and I started teaching for ITT Tech and University of Phoenix. And then in 2010, I landed the position of investigator with the Federal Defender's Office.
Now, what does that mean exactly?
What that does is we look at, a lot of people say, oh, for 25 plus years, I was on what they call the other side as far as putting people in jail. Now they're saying, well, you did a 360-degree turn. Well, it's not so much that, because if you're guilty, you're guilty. What I do, Barry, now is I make sure that individuals' constitutional rights are upheld. And I look at and I investigate the cases and I make sure that everyone's constitutional rights is upheld. And that's my main job now.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know this. How can people? So I get arrested.
Yes.
And I feel that however I was arrested, maybe my Miranda rights
Right.
were not read clearly, or whatever the case, or I was beaten, or what have you. There's many issues that can occur on a scene of a crime.
Right.
How can people get a hold? They just call the defender's office, and you can run through. I'm sure your caseload is insane.
It is, and we have two. We have a state and a federal, and I deal with the federal. And a lot of times what happens is when a case comes through the federal courts, is if the person is indigent and they don't have the money or the funds, then we're assigned. And the underwear bomber was the first case when I started that we had. The gentleman that tried to blow up over Michigan. That was one of the first cases that we had. So those are the type of cases that we have. Just to say, you have cases where people go in, well, police officers go in and they violate people's constitutional rights under the Fifth and Sixth Amendment. Right to search and seizure. So I look at the facts and make sure that everything was done proper. I have a case now, I'm not going to name any names, where this guy is being held. He's a felon, prior felon, and what they call is a FIP case, felon in possession. And what happens is this guy is being charged with having a gun because they're not supposed to. Well, the fact is that it wasn't his weapon, it was his girlfriend's weapon. He was out of town when the police came in and did the raid, and the gentleman some years ago was shot in the hand, and he has no use of his right hand.
Excuse me, but at what point, after he was arrested, did all this evidence come out?
Well, that's my job.
But I'm just asking, like, if he gets arrested on a Monday, how long did this take to come to fruition before you determine this?
Well, of course they have to go before a judge within a certain period of time, normally 48 hours. And then at that point, they're assigned to us, and then we start looking at their case, and we start looking at the issues of his constitutional right.
But did this take months for you to
Oh,
make this
no.
right away?
No, sometimes it could be within weeks. Sometimes it could be within years, because I've had cases that happened in 2010 that we're just not receiving.
But these are federal cases.
These are federal cases. I deal with on the federal level, but we do have the state level also.
Okay. Now, what makes you think that you're qualified to run for city council?
Well,
And what do you have to offer the people that are going to be voting?
the fact is, Barry, is that I have military experience. and leadership. That's one of the things that people are lacking at this point in our current city government. They're lacking decision-making process. They're lacking the skills to bring people together. In Iraq, when I had to deal with folks in the northern province, not only did I have to deal with the several sects of the Middle Eastern culture, but I also had to deal with the military as well as the civilians. So you bring all that into the table, and everybody wants their piece of the pie and bringing that together. And you have to make decisions. Detroit needs help. We all know that. But one thing that I do not want is someone to come in and try to call themselves helping Detroit, but they're really trying to take advantage of Detroit. I always say Detroit has been good to everybody, but not everybody's been good to Detroit.
We haven't, it seems to me, we haven't had government, especially in city council, that knew how to act as professionals in quite a while.
Yes, sir.
That really understood business, city government.
Yes, sir.
I remember back, I don't remember who it was, when there was a city council meeting going on, and she says, "Well, I'm going to go east side on you." And
We all know who that is, but
right,
yeah.
we all know, and all the other dialogue and all the other accusations, and they're not handling themselves from top to bottom. City Hall really needs a revamping.
Yes, yes.
And I'm from the school of thought that if I'm in a position to put my cousin or my brother in, at least let him know that he can handle. At least let me
Be qualified.
Qualified.
Yes, sir.
There's so many people in the government, in the health department, and all aspects of City Hall that have no idea how to be run that department.
Exactly. Barry, one of the things you bring up a very interesting point. In 1988, this is when it all really started for me as far as wanting to be a city council. So this didn't just pop up. In 1988, I was the head of security for Mr. John Jacobs, who was the president of the Urban League. And at that time, I had the privilege of talking to then council members. And to hear them, they had such a compassion, not only for the city of Detroit, but for the people. And, it had such an impression on me. And I said, when I finish my career in law enforcement, this is what I want to continue in help servicing the people. And like you said, we've lost that. And I want to bring that back. Because the other thing is, this is the first time in 70 years that we're going to districts. So not only is it new for a lot of people in the communities, it's going to be new for those council people. And we need leadership to bring folks together and make sure that we have a strong government. My theme is gas, good legislation, active negotiation, strong leadership. That's the fuel that's going to make us move. And people who's going to counsel people, elected officials who's going to listen to the people and do the will of the people. And if there's something different, be able to explain and educate the people. And that's what I want to bring.
I would hope, I have just, I'm inundated with the amount of things that I just want to talk about with this, but
I can come back.
I'm gonna quote, you can come back. I'm gonna quote my brother Steve, who you know very well.
Yes.
And I say this all the time. We have a black city and a white downtown. And we don't hear much. All this new money's coming downtown Detroit. Yes. Now Ilitch is talking about a $650 million project.
What about our communities?
Brought all the property from Comerica Park to the Boulevard, from Woodward all the way to Cass.
Yes.
I know because I was looking at properties, and I asked my real estate guy, how do you know what's for sale and what's not for sale? There's no sign on it. I want to get this building. He says he owns it all. Yeah. He's bought everything. So the communities. Yeah. When are we going to start to see, and it's sort of an A and B point, we have an emergency manager that has how many more months?
He's got about 15 months, because my thing is, and when we get in office, he'll have about 9 months left.
Okay, 9 more months, which renders the council somewhat powerless, including the mayor. Yes. But I do believe there's a way to get him out. And I don't know what that is, but I hear there's some potential to get him out. What are we going to do what's going to happen to all the poor folks in all the abandoned houses? I mean, we have so many issues. I mean, where do you start?
Well, the thing of it is, Barry, is that the city council deals with the fiduciary issues of the city of Detroit, the budget, contracts, and policy making. We also are the buffer between the executive branch and the community. Mr. Orr, the emergency manager, is concentrating on the finances. we need to have our elected officials in to talk about, like you stated, the communities. You know, we need good quality stores. We don't even have an appliance store in the city of Detroit. Miss Trina Turner, who was on Brother Shabazz, Minister Shabazz's show, she talks about blight. What started that blight? We need to talk to the banks, because blight has started with foreclosure. Because we all know once a person is foreclosed upon, within 48 hours, someone is going in that house, stripping that house. Now it devalues the house. It causes the house to lose value. Nobody wants to put that money in. Now we have blight. Now our communities are down.
Not that this would fall in your camp, but I'm convinced that this is all deliberate. A lot of foreign countries
Yes.
have investors
Yes.
coming in buying 500,
Yes.
1,000 homes. And here's the interesting thing. There's no compliances that say that you have to start developing these houses in 6 months.
That's right.
They're sitting there for years deliberately so they can fall more to the ground, and it costs them less to develop. While the real estate values start to
Go up.
blossom up,
That's right.
then they're going to want to come
That's
in.
right. That's right.
This is ridiculous.
And that's why we need to have strong teeth in our city government to stop this. There's universal laws, but there's our laws in place that can stop that type of nonsense. And
What
I
di-
want to find out.
What district are you running for?
I'm running at large. I'm running citywide.
All right, tell everybody what that means.
Because what city, like I said, this is the first time in 70 years we're going districts. It used to be called wards. That means that there will be a representative in one of 7 districts where city council, just like your state reps, just like your county commissioners, where they can go to their particular individual and say, hey, I have an issue in my district or in my block or in my community. I'm running at city large, citywide, however you say it. But I want to be in process with everything that's going on in the entire city, as well as be a partnership with each one of the 7 districts to assist them. Because one of the things in research when we had wars is some districts got it, some districts didn't get it.
What do you mean?
Some districts got benefits, certain
Funding,
what have you. Some districts did not. I want to make sure that all districts are receiving a fair value for their
Equally.
community equally. And each district is different. I mean, what might be an issue in District 7 may be different in District 2.
Now, we didn't have all these districts a few years ago.
Charter just changed that.
But nationwide,
Yes.
everything's broken up to districts, and I was under the impression it was so the Republicans could gain a greater control and squash out the Democratic Party.
Exactly.
Which it looks like they succeeded.
Yes.
And am I right or wrong that the city council will go to 7 members instead of 9?
No,
Now?
it'll still be 9.
There'll be
because
2 at large?
There'll be 2 at large, which is one of the seats I'm running for, and then the 7 districts.
And how many people right now, the deadline was over last week?
The 14th.
How many are there running?
Oh,
do we know?
Very. It's about 100 as far as.
Oh my God!
When you talk, and also you have to understand, you were talking about mayor, city clerk, city council. Now the newest one, because of the charter, is police commissioner. So you have those. So you think if we had 2 pages for the presidential during that time, you can imagine the number of pages, because we're also going to have several proposals, I'm pretty sure, by the balloting and other issues that they're going to be voted on. So, again, it could be, somewhat frustrating and tedious for the voters.
Now, I was part of initially, and I don't know whatever happened to this, an informative voter education program.
Mm-hmm.
People were supposed to meet at people's homes to get indoctrinated into the people that were running, their backgrounds, and and explain what the proposals meant.
Yes.
I went to three of these at 3 churches because I myself really wanted to get a better grasp. Mm-hmm. If I have a show, I want to know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And if I'm going to vote, I don't want to just guess.
Yes.
And I find that there's a lot of folks in general across the board, they either don't vote, which we have to increase the people that get out. They don't realize, they're saying to themselves, what difference can I make? The guy in front of me is driving, he throws a Pepsi bottle out the window, so I'll throw mine out. My people on my street aren't voting. They're throwing garbage out the window. Everyone's saying what different. We need to do a big push to explain to people how important it is, get them on top of the issues. Is this going, it's not far away.
Barry, it's even more so now, because now that we have the emergency manager in, people are saying, well, why should I vote? Now they have another excuse. Why should I vote? There's an emergency manager, city council, and the mayor doesn't have any power anyway. August 6th, which is the primary, everybody, everybody needs to go out and vote because this is your future. November the 5th is the general. You need to go out and vote. Next year, 2014, comes up to remove this governor and a lot of those Republican state reps up there who was blocking. 2016, you know, the Republicans are working. They're working hard to make sure or try to see if they can get a Republican president
You
in.
got it.
So we have to be vigilant on each one of those dates that we get out there and we vote. We can't, this is no time to be sitting back and saying, well, my vote doesn't matter. Well, if it doesn't matter, then go out and do it anyway. Go out and do it anyway, you know?
I forgot what I was going to say.
No, I apologize. I get compassion
The
about
Republicans are controlling the House here. They're controlling it
Yes.
in Washington.
Yes.
And nothing's getting passed. And Obama, forget the state, but Obama is fighting an uphill battle.
he is.
And I believe this is the Republican sort of motto or their credo. Rather than you not get it, I'm going to show you I'm going to kill me. I'm going to make my people suffer, just the mere fact that so you don't get it. And I don't know about you, but I'm convinced that what's going on in the city of Detroit on so many fronts is racism and classism. That the minorities have been squashed by Lansing continuously, the closing of these schools. I mean, if you think about it, I've said this a million times, no lighting, libraries closing, trying to privatize the water. Once they get the water, it's all over. You can kiss the city goodbye. Jobs. How many men, I'm 61, how many men and women worked in the big three for years that lost their jobs, that still need to work, are afraid and do not know how to turn on a computer? How many men and women I see that are over 45, 50, and you say, well, did you got their number on the phone? No, I don't know. I just use my phone to call. Most people are so afraid of technology.
Yes.
I mean, we got a vast portion of the city, I believe, that is really doesn't know what's going on, not informed, doesn't know that they can make a difference.
Barry, it's called digital divide, where we have fallen behind the technology block of using technology to its fullest extent. When you talk about that, the Republicans are also attacking our unions, because when they start attacking with right to work, that attacks our unions. And what they don't understand is all this attack, just what you said, I'm going to kill myself just to show you, you got other countries out here that are just waiting for that. And if this continues, will we have a great United States again? That's what people don't also understand. We have to look at the whole vision and the whole picture of this whole matter.
We need to stand up now.
Exactly.
I don't want to put you in a sort of a trick bag that you don't want to go, but I'm just going to say this. A lot of people don't know, and I'm telling you, I went to see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I was at the City Council, and I was at Fellowship Chapel, and I have to say, I've been at over 70 churches in the city of Detroit, trying to get men and women to come out and march around and patrol around the churches. So I've heard a lot of pastors. I used to go to so many motivational seminars to uplift, not religious, but just, uplift myself. I've never heard a person that could raise the dead like him. Forget his background. And not only that, he is broadening his outreach. Minister Malik Shabazz is now for humanity. Obviously, his first love is the African American community. But if we all can start reaching out, so Minister Farrakhan proposes everybody in the city of Detroit pony up $2 a piece per month at $650,000. It's $1.3 million, and start buying up property ourselves and taking ownership. But he really didn't lay out a plan who's going to take care of this, who's going to canvass it, who's going to be responsible for the money. But I think we need to start purchasing property ourselves, no matter who we are in the city. Why not?
Not only that, Barry, but why can't we just start our own credit union? That's the thing, and not only for purchasing, but also for jobs that's out there. Purchasing for skilled trades. Purchasing for those individuals who, like you said, are afraid to turn on that technology and teach them, hey, this thing won't hurt you. it's going to help you.
Who should start this credit union? I mean, I've been hearing talk about this and this idea. I don't have the wherewithal to start a credit union, nor do I have the money.
The people.
Okay.
The people.
It's been talked about
Because
for quite a while.
if that's who it's going to belong to, it's going to belong to the people. The people can start it. You got a number of bright minds out there that is involved in finance that can come on board, start our own credit union, and we can do a whole lot with it.
All right, I'm going to say one more thing, and I want to bring these young people on because they've been waiting.
Yes,
look
they
at
have.
how hot they are. They're falling out, and I appreciate them waiting.
Yes, thank you so much.
We do not have adequate supermarkets
That's
in
what I
the
stated.
city of Detroit
That's what I stated.
that serve fresh, nutritional food
That's right.
that don't take old food and mix it in with the new meat and change the expiration. I don't trust most of the supermarkets
Right.
here, and you shouldn't. I hate to say it. I know there's a lot of good ones. Foodland, I trust him. I think his name is Mr. Hooks. We need more nutritional food for people to live in the neighborhoods.
Exactly.
These children have a high rate of diabetes. They're living on fast food, big gulps, and barbecue potato chips with hot sauce, and a 4-year-old shouldn't be living on this. We need to bring these supermarkets here, Roy.
And that's what I was stating Barry, earlier. We need to have good quality supermarkets. We need to have good quality appliance stores in the city of Detroit. Therefore, not only does it for the senior citizens or those who don't have the vehicles to drive out, for them, but it also keeps our dollars in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, there's $1.5 billion spent a year here.
Exactly.
And the supermarkets are paramount in taking your children. You know, nutrition affects the mind, the energy level. You know, we have a high incident rate of cancer and diseases in the city with lead paint in the homes. I mean, my God, we could go on. Take a couple minutes and close this out, and I want to get into the next segment and talk about why you think people should vote for you.
Well, I've seen a number of callers that we didn't get a chance to go to, so I just want to give you my number. It is area code 313-434-4806, 313-434-4806. Please give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to speak with you, answer any of your questions. But the fact of the matter is, Barry, I ran in 2005, missed it by 1 in the primary. 2009, missed it by 1 in the primary. I'm running again. Each time that I've ran, I've had a job. So it's not about a paycheck. I'm here to do a job. And it's time for us to stop putting these people in who don't represent us and who don't care about us and don't have a passion for the city of Detroit and the citizens. You put me in, everything that I've been involved in, I've made it better when I left there than when I went in. And if you put me in, I will not let you down.
I think a lot of these people bit off more than they could chew. They had no idea what they were coming into. And I'm disappointed about the call. So I will have you back, and I'm sure Malik would have you on his show, and I would do my best to help you. And I'm very glad you showed
Barry,
up tonight.
thank you so very much. And thank everyone. God bless you.
And good luck to you. And we'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this word from our great sponsors. We're on TV33, WHPR.com. We're going into a break.
Barry, thank you.
Thank you. Hold on. Hold up.
For a new career, Real Brothers Inc. and Detroit Training Institute of Technology presents Building and Construction Trades career training in the following areas: residential electrical wiring, heating and cooling, modern plumbing, carpentry and building construction, green technology building construction. This course also offers paid training, bus tickets, job placement, national certification upon completion. For more information, contact Real Brothers Inc. at 313-833-4946. Classes are forming now.
The following program does not reflect the views and opinions of Channel 33, its management, or sponsors. You're watching Power Talk on your community TV station, UHF TV 33, Detroit, Highland Park. Welcome to Metro Foodland, where you'll always find courteous service. Our hardworking staff always gives their all to maintain our dairy fresh and wholesome products, cold cuts, premium meats, and of course, we have some of the freshest produce around. Check out our deli and bistro. We also carry specialty items such as Tanisha Noni, Water Station alkaline water, and much, much more. If we don't have it, just ask, and we'll do our best to get it. Remember to ask how to join our Healthy Rewards Club. Seniors and ladies, always ask for an escort to your vehicle. We'll see you soon at Detroit's own community grocer, Metro Foodland, located at 18551 Grand River. That's 18551 Grand River, near Finkel and the Southfield Freeway. Remember, that's Metro Foodland.
Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. We're going to have fun. Welcome back. I'm still very affected by my presence on Minister Shabazz's show tonight with this man and his getting shot in the face. This is Mixing It Up, and I'm Barry Ross, and I am very fortunate to be able to have a TV show to speak to you. And I implore you to, I have two great, young, devoted, a young man and a young lady from the Better Detroit Youth Movement who are so devoted. They're always coming out and helping, and I have to say, I know Mr. Pointer and Jay Bivens from the Better Detroit Youth Movement are always bringing young people out to help us. And we had a project last week, and they were out again, and this is Nathia to my right. Hi, Nathia.
Hi, Barry.
How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
There's that smile. And this is Javante.
Yes.
And I'm always forgetting their names because no excuse. I apologize. How are you both? Javante, what's going on?
Nothing much. We are working on a lot of projects. We have a community cleanup Saturday.
Where?
It's going to be on the corner of Santa Maria and Lenore, between 6 Mile and Telegraph and Beach Daily.
And what's going on? What kind of cleanup is that exactly? What are you going to be doing there?
Well, pretty much it was a school that been closed down, I want to say, for a couple years now. And pretty much I noticed that the city just letting the yard just go to waste, and pretty much that the community is not taking pride.
You're surprised at that, huh?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
I see so much of it. Are you going to be boarding up houses, Javante? Are there houses? What's the plan with this?
It's a school, like it's a playground. It's a school playground. It's not where we're
you're cleaning up on the playground?
Yes.
Okay. And why don't you want to ask anybody to come out and help you, or tell them what time? Are you guys going to be feeding anybody? You're going to have water? It's going to be a little colder this weekend, I think. Yeah, the weather's dropping, but that's good for work. You can ask them. I want you to ask them to come out and help you.
Well, this weekend, May the 25th of 2013, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., we will have our community cleanup. It's going to be on the corner of Lenore and Santa Maria, between 6 Mile and Telegraph and Beach Daily. My phone number is 248-694-1386. 248-694-1386.
Javante, you want to holler at them? You guys got garbage bags and rakes and all that stuff?
We have a couple people. We're still looking for donations and people to volunteer their time and
where
equipment.
can they donate to you guys?
They can actually call my phone and get in contact with me.
Okay. All right. You sure?
Yes.
Okay. And if you get any funny phone calls, you let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Javante, now, I'm not clear. I know it's Santa Maria's near 6 Mile. So how far is Lenore off Telegraph? It's between Telegraph and Beach Daily?
Yes, it's the third block right after you cross Telegraph.
Okay, so it's a third block west of Telegraph,
Yes,
right and what school is that? Do you know or no?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
playground is in rough shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
The grass isn't blown. I saw trash out there.
People just dumping
You got to
beds.
talk into the microphone.
Yeah, I saw trash out there. People don't really come out there to use the playground except for littering.
Is this school's closed though?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's another reason when a school closes in a community, it's all over.
Yes.
They don't care anymore. They'll break out the windows. I mean, I've seen it in community after community. Are you going to have any police or Wayne County Sheriff out there that you know of?
Well, I try to get in contact with our council member, Mr. Tate, Ms. Jenkins, and Ms. Jones, but I have to call them tomorrow because I didn't get a follow-up.
Well, I will personally call the deputy chief for Wayne County Sheriff. They generally give us a car. And because there's not any other cleanups. This was Motor City Makeover Month, and it was over last weekend. So they might be freer. So if one of you calls me tomorrow and reminds my old self,
Okay.
all right, or Mr. Pointer, I will call Deputy Chief. I can send him an email for you. You'll give me the address again. Why is it important for community people like yourselves to come out and clean? Why don't the people that live there do it? What's their deal, would you say? I mean, what's your common sense tell you? Why don't people care? What's wrong?
I believe it's not people don't care. I believe that people don't take the time out to care. I mean, if you think about it, mainly for the youth and mainly why I go out and clean up is because I want to see betterness in my community. I know that how people speak down on the city of Detroit, and I know that Detroit can be a better place. It's not just a violent city.
That's right. There's a lot of good in the city, and we tend to focus because the news, murder, rape, and violence. When you watch the news tonight, first 15 minutes are always about,
Yeah.
every night. That's what got me started. It's really a shame. We had, Mr. Pointer, we had 4 volunteers with us on Sunday. 4. I mean, we'll take what we can get, but I was surprised there could have been 100. I mean, when we go to help, when we go to help you in your project, please come and help us over here when we need you. And it's not like working
It should
like
be
that.
I scratch her back, you scratch mine.
You got it, and it's not. Anything else you want to say? Now, let's talk about the Better Detroit Youth Movement. Where do you go to school?
I attend Henry Ford High School.
And you're in what? You're a senior?
Yes,
So you're graduating this year.
June the 21st.
Uh-oh. Congratulations. And
Thank
where are you
you.
going to go? What's your GPA?
It's right now at a 2.4. That's my
Oh.
overall.
I know you could have done better if you wanted to. Uh-oh. Okay, so where are you going to school?
Wilberforce University
Wilberforce? Where's that?
in Ohio,
Okay.
right across the street from Central State University.
You're going to miss all your family and friends going there?
Yes,
Okay. And what are you going to take up?
business. I'm going to take up my business classes there.
Does the Better Detroit Youth Movement have a community thing there too?
Can you rephrase the question?
The Better Detroit Youth Movement.
Yes.
They're in Baltimore. They're in Brooklyn. Brooklyn Youth Movement. Do they have a youth movement in Ohio?
No, not that I know.
Maybe
of.
you could start one. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe you could start one. You could start one. And you, sir, you go where to school?
Henry Ford High School.
You guys don't know each other from school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what grade are you in?
10th grade.
10th grade. Oh, I thought you were in college, man.
Nope.
Okay, and where did you go to school before that?
John R. King.
Okay, and how you doing in school?
Good. 3.2 GPA.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Anybody messing with you at school? Any problems at school?
No, not at all.
Not at all. That's great. And Mr. Pointer, I think he teaches at Henry Ford.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. Oh, so you're in EAA school.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They rehabbed Henry Ford as well, right? Right? They rehabilitated it, remodeled it, put money into it. correct?
Correct.
They refurbished it? Yeah. You want to give a shout out to anybody, your mom or anybody watching you?
Well, I want to
Tonight?
give a special shout out to my mentor, father figure, Mr. William Pointer. Also, I want to
Yay,
give a
Mr. Pointer.
shout out to Better Detroit Youth Movement. We meet every Tuesday. Also, I want to give a shout out to 4-H and Governors. We meet every first and third Saturday from 3 to 5.
You guys don't meet at Jay's Fades, do you?
No, we meet at the Judge Mathis Community Center.
And that is where?
That's between 7 Mile and Greenfield and 8 Mile.
What, Jay doesn't want people coming to the shop anymore? What happened?
No, that's with the Better Detroit Youth Movement. I'm talking about 4-H and Governors, the Michigan State University Extension.
Oh, that was too much for me to handle. Well, where does the Better Detroit Youth Movement still meets at Jay's?
Yes.
When?
Every Tuesday.
Okay.
430, 630,
That's what I'm
17,
talking about.
78, Illinois.
Jay's Fades. It's less than a block north of 6 Mile on the east side of the street. And Greg's Pizzeria is like 2 doors from there. Jay's always getting pizza from Greg's. Right off 6 Mile, there's a gas station, then Greg's. I think there's one other thing there.
No, I believe it's Jay's.
Jay's. He doesn't have a front window, but it says Jay's Fades. And Jay's always working with the youth. He's a very, very talented young man. We want to say hello to Ruben. What's
Yes.
Ruben's last name?
Gordon.
Ruben Gordon. Lives in Ann Arbor,
Yes.
right? And you know his little daughter?
Yes, she
She's
is so sweet.
Yes, she is. I've been waiting to get her on my show, and I'm telling you, she could have a segment on my show. I went to their place one day. You know, she came out of the bedroom, and she had drawn me a picture and put a cover on it, like a pamphlet, and said, "This is for you, Uncle Barry." This is the first time I met her. I mean, she's just adorable. And I forget her name. What's her name?
Ooh.
Okay. If you guys had any dream of what you'd like to see happen to the youth in the city, to the young men, young ladies in high school, what would you like? What kind of gift would you like to see bestowed upon them going forward? What do you think that they could really use in a city? A gift from God, it can fantasy, what have you.
I will mainly for the youth in my city. I will want to see a better education system dealing with more resources for our youth, and our youth taking more time to take advantages of the resources.
Very good.
I would like to see motivation because a lot of youth, they're very smart. They don't know how to apply themselves. And unfortunately, not all teachers are like Mr. Pointer, willing to actually help you out and take the time to further better the students.
I think we're very lucky to have men like Mr. Pointer and everybody else. What do you think a child from 8 years old to 18 needs to have in their house that maybe a lot of children aren't getting to give them motivation?
A father.
Okay, anything else?
Stability and support. Support from someone in the household to actually tell you that you can be what you want to be. If you have goals, you can achieve them. And stability, because a lot of people don't really like to stay in one place in Detroit because they feel that there's no opportunity anymore.
That's
So-
very good.
So hope.
Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I may give one, love. You don't always have to have a father around. It's hard, but if children could get love, respect, and if I don't like myself, I'm going to have a hard time wanting to learn. I really think it's that simple. So, and I think learning to like myself has to come from my parent or parents. One parent can raise a child. It's harder. We had a young man that worked at my store. His father was murdered when he was 8. He had 4 other brothers. Every single child, the mother raised them all. Every single young man, a boy at the time, went to college and are all working 2 or 3 jobs. So now, if a young woman isn't taught this from her parents, and she becomes a single parent, it's hard for her to give it to a child. It seems to me that a lot of young ladies who never got love, thinking they'll go get pregnant
Or go
and give
seek
love.
it from someone else, or the wrong way, the wrong path. Some young ladies go out there to find love in different
That's
ways that they shouldn't have to go out there to go find
Yeah,
it.
and it's not there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's empty love, and it's a shame. So, I was saying too that a young lady who never was loved could go and get pregnant, thinking that she was never loved, so she's going to love her child. If you don't have love within you, it's hard to give. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's harder to give. A lot of the children in these homes are facing neglect, abuse, all kinds of issues you can imagine in the homes. Wake up in the morning and
Come
they're-
to school and act
no
like
breakfast. Wait, maybe no breakfast. Maybe barbecue potato chips in a pot. I'm serious. And now they got to walk to school past all these abandoned homes. And now you throw them into school and say, it's like, go learn. Well, why would you want to learn? I mean, really. Where is this coming?
where that passion's going
Where's
to be.
the passion's going to come from? It's got to be instilled in you. It's got to be taught in you. A work ethic has to be taught to you. You have to value yourself. A lot of the crime, a lot of the violence, the young violence out here, they're acting out. They're hating the world. I used to be like that. I understand it. The young guys out here just killing for no reason. They're full of anger and rage. They're not getting in a home. They might be in a home where their mother has men at night coming in and out of. I mean, how would you imagine how you'd feel? How I would feel if I saw these men in my mom's house, or my mother or father selling drugs. That's not always the case. But or there's a mean father or a mean mother, or just neglect, or the mother's always working and doesn't have the time to give the love to the daughter or the son. We got a couple minutes. Would you like to comment on any of that before we go? Either one of you? Javante, would you like to say something?
Yeah, most kids, they need stability. That's what stability, and you said love. Like, you need stability and love. Stability to show you that you can't be something. Like, if you see most of the time a successful household is the father, the mother. Most of the households in Detroit are mostly led by the female, the mother. And most young men have no male role models. They go outside with their pants sagging and don't know how to dress for a proper attire for a business interview,
Sure.
which leads to unemployment, and they're going to have kids, and their kids are not going to learn from them. So it's just a chain example, which you're either going to be put into prison or dead. It's
Prison is a business.
yeah.
They're waiting for children to do something wrong. They're waiting. It's a business. Yes, go ahead, and you can close this out.
One thing I wanted to say was that no matter what a person might tell you, no matter how a person might try to knock you down, you can be whatever you want to be. No matter what, you just have to put your mind to it. You have to have that passion, that dedication, because if you don't, you would set yourself up for failure. One, it's probably not something you wanted to do, but you so used to a person probably knocking you down, or so immune to your environment, but you can escape the environment if you're not comfortable with the environment. So just always remember, if you want a higher education, if you want a college degree, go seek that. Nobody cannot take an education away from you. You can be whatever you want to be.
That is wonderful. I'm so glad that I had you two young people on our show. We appreciate all the work you do, and I hope other young people like yourself learn to see what you do and can follow suit with you. Again, this project is at this school on Santa Maria in Lenore,
Yes.
At 10:30 Saturday morning?
10:30 a.m. between 5 p.m. My phone number, can I?
Go ahead.
248-694-1386.
Okay, wonderful. Everybody have a safe week, and the good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I'll be back next week.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Have a nice night.
Very good job. Thank you for coming. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.